Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching second part of What If Naruto Was Trained by Dark Emperor. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Kagaya Kimimaro, a Sanin and the current leader of the Sound Village in Rice Country, was a quiet man who pushed himself physically every day. The snake Sanin gave the albino child a purpose that the last Kagaya never dreamed was possible after finding him shortly before his clan's destruction when they attacked Mist after their bloodlust got the better of them. In contrast, Kimimaro believes that things have begun to shift in a direction that is not favorable to the notorious Orochimaru in the months leading up to his planned attack on Konoha during the Chunin exams. The now albino man had been experiencing some difficulty breathing and bouts of coughing over the past few months, with bloody mucus involved in one episode. Another source of Kimimaro's distress was a dream in which a figure told him that Orochimaru didn't value his loyalty and that the Sannin would discard him like a broken toy after the death of the last Kagaya without shedding a tear. Even though this person was younger than him, Kimimaro treated Orochimaru as if he were a horrible monster because of the way he talked about him. I mean, it's not like the Sannin even exists. Right. Kimimaro didn't want Orochimaru to think he was going crazy, so for a while he didn't tell anyone about the voice in his head while he slept. I respect your sense of loyalty to Orochimaru, but you must understand that such loyalty will not be returned, and he will throw you away for something he believes is better, the villain said to Kimimaro. Rather than find a way to cure you, he wastes time in getting his revenge and trying to crush the leaf. If you served me, I could find a means to cure you of your disease and make you stronger than ever before. To be quiet. You don't have a clue who Orochimaru-sama is. Kimimaro thought, he gave me purpose and direction in my life, as he punched the wall next to him, concentrating on the pain to drown out the voice. If Orochimaru was smart, he would have you find a woman to have your cyborg spawn with, but I know it was a purpose to serve him and it is the direction that he gives you. But what do you think will happen after you die? That he'll cry? That he'll bury you with dignity? That is the last thing Orochimaru would do for someone like you. I, on the other hand, would treat you like a person and see. Kimimaro reflected, no woman would dare be with me now due to my growing condition, much less with me before when I was healthy, recalling that he had considered being with a woman on more than one occasion for such an event to occur. However, Orochimaru had frowned upon it for some reason, and he always wore a strange look in his eyes whenever he was around Kabuto. The voice told the albino, maybe where you are now, but I know that Mist would welcome you back with open arms and could help you restore your clan. I can even cure that ever-horrible disease that plagues your lungs so you can teach your children how to use their bloodline and see to it that they don't make the same mistakes that your predecessors did. However, he was unsuccessful. Are you sure you can take away my suffering? Kimimaro thought, my mind and heart are at war with each other. Yes, the mysterious figure replied. How can I help you? Kimimaro, exhausted from his battle with the voice and the promise of a better life if he abandoned Orochimaru, came to this conclusion. The voice warned Kimimaro to follow my instructions carefully and make sure that no one follows you to Mist, as the figure started giving him advice on how to deflect Orochimaru's suspicions and win over the Sannin. Later with Orochimaru. After seeing his loyal subordinate kneel before him, Orochimaru asked the albino, you wish to go water country? Am I hearing you right, Kimimaro? With narrowed eyes. As calmly as he could in front of the Sannin before him, Kimimaro said, yes, Orochimaru-sama. A repressed memory came to me from my childhood of a man among our clan, who was working on curing the illness that pops up within our clan that I am currently plagued with, and I believe there is something in our clan home that could prove useful to cure it. Orochimaru, studying his bodyguard intently, waited for the boy to speak before saying, tell me the location where you wish to go, Kimimaro, and I will have Kabuto go there to collect what is there. Kimimaro said, I'm afraid I can't say, Orochimaru-sama. The possible item that Kabuto-san could use to cure me is locked away in the Kagaya clan home and only a Kagaya can access the item. Sensing that Orochimaru was not entirely convinced and knowing that the Sannin could use other means to bypass certain clan seals without sending his bodyguard. Orochimaru said in a cold, hard voice, his gaze hardening at Kimimaro, I see. I find your sudden need to go to water country very coincidental now that the issue with bloodlines now resolved and welcomed back into Mist, Kimimaro. You would not be planning to leave my services to join the new Mizukage. Would you? Kimimaro looked up at the Sannin and saw the man's calculating eyes. Never, Orochimaru-sama. The proof of my loyalty to you is worn proudly on my chest before you. I just wish to see if the item that could cure me is still there and bring it back for Kabuto to examine before seeing if it has that power, he said. Very well. I suppose I should trust you in that regard since you have done everything I have ever asked of you without question. Not only that, but if this item does exist, and Kabuto can make it cure you of your disease. I can use your body in the near future, said Orochimaru, with the idea of using Kimimaro's body once again appearing in his mind, and knowing this would help him extend the training periods of his other bodies that would one day house his soul. Kimimaro replied, yes Orochimaru-sama, knowing that the Sannin's plans to use his body as his next vessel were on hold while Kabuto ran additional tests to determine the severity of the damage. While glaring fiercely at Kimimaro, Orochimaru said, go at once and find this item in your old clan home, to which the albino nodded in understanding. But if I have the slightest feeling you are betraying me for Mist, I will personally hunt you down, and make your clan nothing more than a memory to the world, he added. With a sigh of relief, Kimimaro said, yes Orochimaru-sama, and then he left the room. Coming out from behind the Sannin, Kabuto said, he's hiding something. The Sannin bowed respectfully as Kabuto said this. Orochimaru said, so you say Kabuto, but I know Kimimaro won't betray my trust after all I have given him, and if he does. Not even his power can match mine should it come to disposing of him, knowing that the Sannin had a way to remove the Kaguya from play, and move on without hesitation should that situation arise. Kabuto thought, so you say, because he wasn't convinced and worried that the Sannin was becoming overconfident. The Water Country, Part Der. Since he had to get this done, Kimimaro had made sure no one was following him from Sound or anywhere else. Thankfully, the Kaguya clan was officially recorded as having been exterminated years ago after their attack on Mist stoked the horrors of the bloodline purges. Kimimaro was able to rein in his bloodthirst and stand out physically from the rest of his clan's murderers. Because of this, he was the strongest member of the clan, and he was also imprisoned so that he couldn't use his power against his fellow members. The albino Kaguya, who was wearing a hooded cloak, entered a dive bar and knocked 3 times on the wooden bar in front of him to attract the attention of the bartender. The bartender asked the albino, what do you want? As he prepared to serve him a beverage. Kimimaro asked the bartender, the elixir of life and restoration sounds promising. Do you have it? While observing the bartender's casual head nod. Yeah, but it's an expensive drink, and it's more for the high-class customers. If you drink it here, you could get a lot of people's attention, and that around here is not good, said the barkeep, to which Kimimaro nodded this time in understanding. The man nodded once and gestured for Kimimaro to follow. I could drink it somewhere more private if you have such a location in the back, Kimimaro said. Kimimaro did so, and the bartender knocked on the door across the room in a pattern of knocks like a combination, and then a slot in the ceiling opened to reveal a mysterious face in the darkness. Who knocks at the guarded gate? The figure with Kimimaro stepping up to answer asked. Kimimaro remarked, one, who has tasted its fruit, and eaten its mysteries, after observing the figure nod once, unlock, and open the door. Kimimaro entered the room and moved ahead of him a few feet before the light above him brightened and revealed a figure dressed in crimson robes, just as he had seen in his dreams. The Kaguya's muscles tensed as he prepared to use his heritage to conjure a weapon made of bone. There will none of that, Kimimaro. I am not your enemy. Not anymore, said the figure, seeing that Kimimaro was not completely convinced and still tensed to strike should this be a trap. I came here as you said, and no one connected to Orochimaru has been following me, Kimimaro said, hoping that this mysterious person would grant him his wish. As the albino finally realized who Naruto was, the Kaguya looked at him with some trepidation. I know. I have foreseen it where you would stand before me, Kimimaro. You have done all that I have asked of you leading up to this point and your trust in me will be rewarded as promised, Naruto said. Kimimaro asked, can you really cure me like you claimed? Because he was concerned that this might either be a hoax or an attempt to distract him from Orochimaru. To differentiate himself from Orochimaru, Naruto said, of course. did I not promise you that? I always honor promises, Kimimaro. It is what separates me from Orochimaru. I know you feel loyalty to the Sannin for what he has done for you, and to be honest I feel some form of sympathy for the man in losing you over this. However, that sympathy dies after seeing how he manipulates others, does not return one's own loyalty, and... Kimimaro knelt in front of Naruto and said, "If you cure me, I will pledge my loyalty to you and the new Mizukage." To this, Naruto replied, "You realize by doing this, it will bring the wrath of Orochimaru down upon your person, and mine for that matter," for he knew that Orochimaru would not be pleased with this traitorous action and would likely try to kill the albino Kagaya. Kimimaro, seeing Naruto nod, ordered him to get to his feet. "In my currently weakened condition, I am no match for Orochimaru, but if I were healed of my disease, then my power would be on par with his, and I could kill him if given the chance," he said. "Then I will delay your cure and recovery no longer. Come my friend, we have work to do, and not enough time to do it at the pace we would like," said Naruto, putting his hood over his head before walking deep into the shadows of the room with Kimimaro right behind him, marking the beginning of a new destiny for the last Kagaya of the elemental countries. At the present time, Konoha, Hokage Tower. With a look on his face that could melt steel, the fire daimyo told the Sandaime Hokage, "I'm very disappointed in you, and I'm not easily disappointed." The Hokage said, "I know daimyo-sama. I am sorry beyond words, because he felt so old before the fire daimyo and, no doubt, because he had heard his students yell at him after Naruto left in the strange metal thing that resembled the airships that were rumored to exist in Snow Country. Sorry is an understatement. Do you know who handed this to me in the middle of court when I was with my wife and all was well within my world that is Fire Country? It was a Kumo ambassador, who kneeled down before me in front of the entire public that was my court, and announced for all to hear how this scroll from Mist was to be given to me due to its contents relating to the life of the Yondaime's son while here in the Leaf. Imagine my surprise to read how that the Yondaime's son was treated like crap. No, crap is such a weak word here, I believe I should rephrase that, and say he was treated like less than crap while in the Leaf. All under your watch and you let it happen without so much as batting an eyelash of guilt towards him after being beaten within an inch of his life. So please tell me your reasoning for tolerating not only this village, its people, and you along with the entire governing body of Konoha? Give me a reason to not have a large army of my samurai come to Konoha and simply burn it to the ground with everyone inside of it being turned to ash?" Said the fire daimyo, as he saw the Sandaime looking even more nervous, scared out of his mind at his words, and for good reason since such an action was a simple command away. Since the contents of that scroll holding a tell-all book of events of Naruto's life in Konoha became public knowledge, the Leaf has been losing clients left and right. I can't give you any reason daimyo-sama other than the fact that there are still innocent people in this village and they should be spared your wrath, said the Sandaime. The fire daimyo saw the Sandaime nod and knew he had the Leaf right now with a simple flick of his wrist that could rip them off without hesitation. Well, lucky for you, there still are innocent people in the Leaf, who are not guilty as sin like most of the population here in Konoha, and I will spare them my wrath. To small if only to a limited extent, he said. Sandaime said, I understand, realizing that he had no choice but to give in. As of now, the Leaf Village is being put on notice, and you are going to be under a more watchful eye. I left the Leaf in your capable hands because of your experience in running the village before you retired, but I see now that was a mistake, and I should have left someone else in charge to handle its affairs. Make no mistake, Sandaime, the people that hurt Yondaime's son are going to be properly punished for their actions before they are forgiven in my eyes, and I expect you to enforce my decisions or expect your grandson to pay for your mistakes in your place. As for your two councils, I am reducing all their powers to what they should be, which is down to non-existent, and advisory only when it comes to shinobi matters. The civilian council will only handle civilian affairs, which do not fall under shinobi families, and that will be handled by the clan heads along with yourself with your shinobi council acting only as advisors. They can speak their minds, but it will be up to you to make up your own, and I expect you to handle things properly from now on. If you don't, said the fire daimyo, as he let the words sink into the old cage's skull, and the Sandaime nodded knowing full well the threat behind it could be carried out. The hospital in the village of Hidden Mist later. Haku said to Naruto, Are you sure that this will work, Naruto-kun? as she saw him standing over a shirtless Kimimaro with his curse seal exposed and monitors with wires covering his vitals. After discussing everything with the albino, Naruto said, "It's either this, or the man dies slowly of this fatal disease, Haku-chan. That's not how a warrior wants to die, right, Kimimaro?" The plan was to channel the force and Kyuubi's chakra into Kimimaro's body near the affected areas of his lungs, then force the disease out of the man's system. It was difficult, and Naruto had never used the force to heal another being before, especially considering who had trained him in its ways. The Emperor and Darth Vader may have been telling the truth about the Force, and Bis may have benefited from consulting a few Sith holocrons the Emperor kept on the planet as part of his training. Kimimaro said, "In the event that I do not survive, I wish to be buried with dignity and honor worthy of my clan," and he saw Naruto nod his head in understanding. Naruto said to the man, "I can't numb your body for this, Kimimaro, so please forgive me when I hurt you," as he handed the albino a mouth bracer to bite down on. Kimimaro said, "I won't need it," in a nonchalant manner. Naruto said to the albino, "Trust me when I say, Kimimaro. You will need it," as he let the animal bite the object and got into position with Haku nearby. After placing his hands on the albino's chest, Naruto said, "I'm ready," and Kyuubi's crimson chakra rained down on him. So began the long hours of Kagaya Kimimaro wailing in agony as the disease that had plagued his family for generations and now Hima was finally expelled. By the time it was over, Kimimaro was still breathing, but he was unconscious from the onslaught of pain. If he could look at himself now. His curse seal had been broken, too. Naruto, on the other hand, was sitting in a chair, panting heavily from overexertion of his abilities. Haku left to tend to Naruto's needs while Kimimaro was taken away by a team of nurses to a private room guarded by Anbu. Haku asked, "Are you all right, Naruto-kun?" After noticing how exhausted he looked after using his powers to heal Kimimaro. Naruto laughed lightly before taking a few deep breaths again, and found Haku's touch to be very comforting. "Yeah. I'm fine. My old master would be rolling in his grave if he saw me do that with the force and Kyuubi's power to heal Kimimaro," he said. Haku said, "I have spoken with Zabuza-sama earlier before Kimimaro's procedure. He wants us to be enrolled in the Chunin exams that are being held in Konoha, but he wants to know what you think, and if he should let us," and she watched him close his eyes thoughtfully. As Naruto saw the future was full of possibilities, and the snake Sannin was plotting something with Suna, he said, "The future is always in motion. I sense a plot to destroy Konoha aside from the one I have planned with Kumo, and the source of it is that of Orochimaru." As the visions blurred, however, Naruto lost clarity on exactly what was going to happen, which made him frown because he couldn't look into the future again until the time was right. Haku said, "We can make preparations if need be for that," as she helped Naruto get out of his chair and nodded his head. Knowing that the Chunin exams required a team of 3 genin, Naruto asked, "I sense our presence in the leaf is needed, but I do have a small question, Haku, and that is, just how will be a genin team when we are one person short?" Naruto had done some research on the ways of the shinobi and rank qualifications, so he was aware that the genin team would be short a member. Haku explained, "Zabuza-sama suggested that we recruit Kimimaro to the mission, as he can give us key detailed information about Orochimaru's invasion plan for the leaf, and allow us to make a proper counter to it," as she saw Naruto nod, and smile at her in a way that made the ice user blush. Since Naruto expected Zabuza to be pleased with Kimimaro's curing and to want the albino ready as soon as possible, he agreed with his suggestion that the albino be hidden away and given a false name until he was ready to work with them. Konoha, Hokage Tower, Chunin examinations begins. Sandaime. I have received information about the genin team from Mist that is heading here to participate in the Chunin exams. One of them is Namikaze Naruto, causing gasps from the Anbu, Junin, Chunin, and the 2 council members in the room, and piqued interest from the clan heads. Since that was always an option, a Junin asked, "What do you want us to do? Subdue him and take him to Inoichi to erase his mind?" No doubt the Mizukage has already informed the Fire Daimyo that Naruto is coming here to participate, and any attempt on him, no matter what it may be, could bring us more disgrace in his eyes, said the Sandaime, hearing everyone murmur to the person next to them. Ibiki asked, "So you want to let his team pass without opposition?" He didn't like doing that, but he understood why the boy would be hostile to Konoha. Do your job, Ibiki, and see how Naruto's team does. Do not fail him or his team unless they fail legitimately. That's the only way our feudal lord will spare the Leaf his wrath for what they did to Naruto and his family long before the Shoden founded Konoha. Asuma saw some people tense at that, knowing that some people would not let go of their bigotry, and so he said, "What about that team from Kumo? It's been rumored that they are sending over one of their demon vessels to participate. Since Kumo is allied with Mist, attacking them would be like attacking Mist, and we don't have the manpower to repel both villages, especially with Fire Daimyo threatening to cut off all support to the Leaf," said the Sandaime, who also knew that Jiraiya and Tsunade would not help Konoha because of the village's mistakes. The Haruno councilman said, "Great. As if we need two of those things running around our village, drawing the ire of many residents." The old Cage turned to the various shinobi in the room and warned, "Be mindful of what you say from here on out, councilman. One slip-up from any one of us will cause the death of every person in Konoha that lives here," as the Sandaime observed the man grumble but remain silent for the most part. Kakashi asked the Sandaime, "What about our students? What happens if they interact with Naruto or his team?" After seeing the Sandaime close his eyes and sigh heavily, the Sandaime saw the Scarecrow shinobi nod in agreement and realized that the others were thinking the same thing. Keep them away from them. Especially the Uchiha. Knowing that boy, we could have problems, and I don't want any when it comes to Naruto, he said. The Leaf shouldn't be coerced into doing anything it'll regret, so let's hope Naruto doesn't cause a scene. Right now, somewhere in the Konoha district, down a side street. When Naruto saw Haku dressed as the fake hunter nin for Zabuza, he asked, "Are you both ready for this?" Haku was wearing a blank white mask and the uniform she wore when she posed as the nin for Zabuza. Kimimaro responded, "Yes, Naruto-sama," while sporting a new look that included shorter hair, a bandaged lower face, and black pants, shirt, trench coat, steel-toed boots, and fingerless gloves. Haku said, "We know what to do, Naruto-kun, because getting to the Chunin exam finals was a top priority for them and at least one of them needed to get there so the Mizukage would have a reason to travel to Konoha. Kumo's Raikage team is on par with any other." Good. Kimimaro, as of this moment until further notice, you will be addressed by the two of us, and the Mizukage simply as Starkiller, said Naruto, hoping the former apprentice of Darth Vader was doing well out in the galaxy. Kimimaro said, "I understand," because he realized that Orochimaru wouldn't be able to find out his real identity if he used his codename. As Naruto began to lead the way to the hotel where they would be staying for the first part of the exam, he heard a commotion and the cries of a young child not too far away. A boy in what appeared to be a black catsuit and makeup said to a younger boy, "You damn brat. You ran into me. Apologize right now," while an older girl in back with blonde hair in pigtails and an iron fan on her back looked away uninterested. The boy, who was revealed to be the grandson of the Sandaime Hokage, screamed at the girl, "Let go of me, you weird dressed and talking girl," while kicking his feet wildly. The young man with ticks on his head exclaimed, "I'm a guy Yubaka." A blonde girl with pigtails had to stifle her laughter as she watched Naruto approach the boy, who was now looking angry at him. What's this? An S&M transsexual picking on a kid? The boy said, as the girl behind him began to perspire, "What do you care, you robe-wearing freak? Is it cause for concern that he didn't refute it?" The blonde-haired girl thought, "Who is that?" as she took a look at the person with whom her brother was having an argument. To the other boy's angry expression, Naruto replied, "If I am a freak, then what does that make you, and your feminine makeup-covered face?" He then tossed the younger boy aside and unwrapped the package from behind him. Tamari asked her younger brother, "Konkuro, you're not considering using Crow, are you?" as she watched him grin at the crimson-robed Namikaze. Konkuro, clearly overconfident, said to Tamari, "Don't worry, Tamari. This kid looks weak even if he is a genin from Mist," as he was about to unmask Crow but stopped, gasping for air, and fell to his knees. "Foolish Suna Shinobi, I find your lack of intelligence to be disturbing," said Naruto, his arm extended and his hand making a squeezing motion. His sand motion resembles Gaara's. When Temari and Kankuro first saw it, they were filled with dread. After sensing two people behind her, Haku said to Naruto, "Naruto-kun, you should stop, or we might get in trouble for causing a scene," and Naruto let Kankuro go. "As you wish. You with the red hair behind us, please stand before me, and introduce yourself properly," said Naruto, after waiting for a second while the two in front went pale with fear and the boy in question who brought it now manifested before them. When Gaara saw his older brother Kankuro pleading for his life, he said, "Kankuro, you are an embarrassment to the village, and to me." Kankuro was still out of breath and trembling. Kankuro began to explain, "GG Gaara, it wasn't my fault. That kid bumped into me and..." but was cut off by Gaara's murderous glare. Gaara threatened, "Shut up or I will kill you," as if it were an undeniable fact. Good thing he isn't strong with the force, or he'd be a pretty mean Sith, thought Naruto as he noticed the dark circles under Gaara's eyes and realized the boy was obviously troubled. Gaara turned to Naruto and his teammates and said, "Please tell me your name." Namikaze Naruto said in a cold, wintry voice, "My name is Namikaze Naruto, but you may call me the Demon Hand if you wish, and behind me are Momochi Haku and Starkiller of the Mist Village." "Your name?" "Subaku no Gaara. Behind me are my older brother Kankuro and sister Temari from Suna. We are here for the Chunin exams." "Same as you, correct?" Gaara asked after noticing Naruto and his team nod in agreement. "Correct, Subaku no Gaara. I look forward to facing you in the distant future, Chunin exams," said Naruto, extending his hand, and Gaara took it, shocking his poor siblings. When Gaara grabs a hold of a person's limb, it usually doesn't last long before the sand eats it. Gaara said with a sadistic grin, "You are strong. Mother will have your blood soon during the exams." "I can feel it," and Naruto returned the sentiment. With Gaara's eyes widening slightly in comprehension, Naruto said, "Perhaps, but I think that your mother is not going to get it so easily, and you can thank a certain fox of mine for that form of resistance to her desires for me," before he released the blonde's hand and stepped back. "Wow, he's just like me." Since Gaara had heard that Yondaimi's son had become a demon vessel, but had been missing for over half a decade, he reasoned that the rumors about his return serving the mist must be true. "Farewell, Subaku no Gaara. See you tomorrow," Naruto said as he left the Suna Nin, then turned back to the tree Gaara had hidden in, where he slashed the trunk diagonally in a flash of red, causing it to fall and revealing Uchiha Sasuke watching them from above. A voice from nowhere. What was that? While the Sandame's grandson found it amusing, Sasuke, Sakura, Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari all thought it was pretty cool. "Stay out of my way, Uchiha. I have no problem running you over," Naruto said to his teammates as he walked away from an enraged Uchiha. The next day at Leaf Shinobi Academy, room 301. Long after he and his team had entered the room, Naruto could sense that all eyes were on them, and he could hear the whispers of the people around him because the Kyuubi sealed within him had heightened all his senses to help him. He heard the rumors about how he had made a deal with the Kyuubi and gained unnatural powers by sacrificing virgins to the fox, and he smiled under his crimson-black hood. Haku seemed embarrassed by the ending, and Naruto had to ignore Kyuubi's advice to mate with his teammate in order to appease the nine-tailed beast, but he thought it was pretty funny. There was no requirement for the complete or even partial veracity of these rumors. Kimimaro whispered through his bandages, "Naruto-sama, the white-haired boy with glasses is named Kabuto. He is secretly working for Orochimaru as a spy for him against the Leaf. And he is also a skilled medic nin. His shinobi skills are secretly that of Junin level." Naruto nodded slightly. In response to their question, Naruto said, "Yes. I sense he is a key component to Orochimaru's plans. For now, we will let him live, and deal with him at a more appropriate time," and he saw his teammates nod in agreement. Kabuto had just introduced himself to the Rookie 9 and Guys team by showing them his information cards. Sasuke said, "Tell me about Namikaze Naruto," indicating his desire to learn more about the boy and discover his secret to strength. Kabuto said, "Oh, I see you know his name. Well, that does make things easier, and help me give you his stats," before pulling out his info card and looking at Naruto's stats, which only made him frown. Kiba asked, "What is it?" After noticing the frown and confusion, Kabuto saw the leaf genin in front of him looking nervous, so he said, "It says here that Namikaze Naruto is the Yondaime Hokage's son, was kidnapped at the age of 6, and returned to the public eye with strange new powers while apparently given the title, the Demon Hand, by persons unknown. Defeated Team 7 in Wave Country and helped kill the Yondaime Mizukage. There is nothing else here." Kiba asked with genuine curiosity, "What about his teammates?" Kabuto saw that everyone around him was getting nervous about Naruto's team, and he didn't blame them. One is Momochi Haku, who is considered the adopted daughter of Momochi Zabuza, the current Mizukage, and possibly has a bloodline. The second individual is unknown, except for his supposed name, and only responds when called. Starkiller. Nothing else is known, he said. All three of them looked formidable for being complete strangers from a bloodthirsty village recently ruled by a man who had to rewrite the rules for graduation from the Mists Academy. As Choji looked around him, he noticed that everyone else was visibly nervous. "Does anyone else feel a bit outclassed?" he asked, looking up from his bag of chips. Shino called out to the girl, Hinata, as she steadied herself. However, the Aburame could tell that the young woman was still privately anxious. After all, she was well aware of the pressure her clan exerted. Silently, Hinata told Shino, "I'm fine, Shino. Nothing will stop me from becoming Chunin," and Shino nodded his head, knowing that Hinata was serious. After Naruto vanished 6 years ago, Hinata became distant from everyone around her. It was as if a different side of her had emerged without Naruto's persona and made itself known. Hinata was the class leader and the strongest female shinobi, proving that she belonged to the powerful main family. When Hyuga Neji displeases his cousin, she usually hurts him during sparring matches rather than resorting to the cage bird seal, but he learned the hard way that he had better comply or face the consequences. Hanabi, the girl's younger sister, tried just as hard as Hinata to avoid having the cage bird seal used on her, but she was no match for Hinata. While Hanabi was still young and had time to improve her gentle fist skills, Hinata was adamant that the Hyuga clan elders would not seal her despite her numerous victories over the girl. Hinata, as icy as she was not about to let her younger sister have that seal on her, and she was going to put off the inevitable for as long as possible. Ni Yugito, who was in a different part of the room, caught sight of the Hyuga heiress standing next to her genin team and realized that they had won the same thing that the Kumo ambassador had tried and failed to win 9 years earlier. The crew of the Nibi ship spotted Naruto and his team and heard the two-tailed cat squeal with excitement at seeing him. Nibi, making her vessel blush and sputtering mentally, said, "I hope you get some alone time with him, kitten. It's been too long since we've last seen him." Nibi. In her mind, Yugito saw the Nibi yawn and stretch before lazily returning to her seat. "We've only been away from him for a few months and you act like it's been a few centuries," she thought. Nibi added insult to injury by telling her ship, "True, but you have to admit he is quite a catch, and those little fantasies you've been having about him since then haven't helped either. That's why I have such vivid dreams, because of you." Yugito yelled at Nibi in her mind, "Get away from that cat," as she watched the feline grin slyly in her direction. "I only gave you what you desire, kitten. You've been near Naruto before he left Kumo, you've smelled his scent using the enhanced senses I've given you, and you know that he is perfect for a girl like you. Don't deny it, I've seen the dreams, and even I did not know you could bend your back that far," said Nibi, as she laughed at Yugito's red-faced look and pushed the blonde. If Yugito had been paying closer attention, she would have noticed that the boy who had caught her eye was sitting next to the Hyuga heiress and picked up on the hostile vibes emanating from the boy's female teammate. While smiling at the questions in front of him, Naruto turned his head slightly to look at Hyuga Hinata, who was trying to pay attention to the test. Of course, the operative word there was trying, as Hinata felt heat rise to her face and her heart thumped in a way she had almost forgotten since she had last seen Naruto many years ago. When Hinata first met Naruto, he had rescued her from a group of bullies at the playground who were picking on her because of the color of her eyes. Before the parents of the children came to beat Naruto bloody, he had befriended Hinata and beaten the boys with a ferocity she hadn't imagined possible in a child of 6. From what Hinata could tell, Naruto had narrowly escaped his Baka parents' wrath. Despite this, The Hyuga heiress memory of the event was seared into her brain, and she has never stopped feeling an attraction to the blonde sitting next to her. Hinata Hyuga blushed at the boy's attention and stared at her paper more intently, though she couldn't help but steal a few glances at him as she worked. Focus, Hyuga Hinata. If you don't focus, then your team will fail the exam, and we can't have it, said Naruto. Naruto-kun, you have to be kidding me. Hinata thought, he's gotten so handsome since I last saw him, before she mentally scolded herself for considering using her Byakugan on him to see what he looked like without his clothes. Naruto spoke to Haku and Kimimaro's minds via the Force, asking, Haku. Starkiller. Can you hear me? Speak using your minds only. Yes, Naruto-kun, Sama, Haku and Kimimaro agreed in their minds. Naruto had used the Force to see the tests from the hidden Chunin posing as Genin, and then connected with his teammates so they could see what he did. Good. I've used the Force to find the answers to the questions. Prepare to receive them, he said. By the time the exam proctor Morino Ibiki revealed the 10th question, Naruto's team was ready for it and remained calm. It came as a shock to everyone, and some people even raised objections, saying the question was biased. Ibiki smirked and told the Genin, who happened to be Inuzuka Kiba, that he didn't give a rat's behind about the rules of the test and that he would make them up if the people taking the test in this room didn't like them. When Ibiki saw the most frightened Genin raise their hands to indicate they were quitting and leave with their tails between their legs, he asked, so who here is going to raise their hand to quit and who here is going to stay to take the test knowing that failure to get it right could result in your forever being a Genin? Ibiki beamed with confidence that he still had the ability to influence people's thoughts. He stopped grinning when he realized that Namikaze Naruto, of all people, was the source of the unexpected laughter. The young man slowly got out of his chair, took off the hood covering his face, and smiled widely, giving off a feral vibe. He then laughed in what sounded like insanity. Naruto smiled and bowed his head slightly to the scarred man, saying, I haven't laughed that hard in years. Maybe ever. Thank you for that small moment of entertainment, Ibiki-san. Ibiki frowned and sat back down. Ibiki said, there is nothing funny about this test, Gaki, as he watched Naruto shake his head in disagreement, laugh some more, and then calm down. My apologies, Ibiki-san, but for me taking this test is funny, as I have done things that make it, and your intimidation tactics you're throwing at us look like a joke. I have done, experienced, and seen things that would shock if not awe you. I have seen things that in reality would make you think I'm crazy and should be locked up if I told you right now. This paper test, your tactics to make me, and my team break are no more effective than the world's smartest dust mite trying to do the same thing. Regardless if I fail the next question or not, I have no intention of stopping in being what I am, and I intend to make myself infamous because of it. I mean, can you imagine full-fledged Leaf Junin being killed by a Genin-ranked shinobi of the mist? This could crush the reputation of this very village and it would be of its own making, so I have nothing to lose. Bring it on, said Naruto with the last 3 words being spoken in the deadly whisper and covered his head in his crimson-black hood of his robes. Why, you arrogant little snot. He seems to actively challenge me to let him down. Shit. Everyone else had the same success. Nobody else is reluctant to use it. There are still over 20 groups here. Damn. Ibiki thought, Anko is going to make me hear about this for months, so he sighed and announced to the remaining test takers that they had passed the test without explaining the answer to the 10th question. Naruto looked at Ibiki with a smile of triumph, and the scarred leaf shinobi almost smacked it off his face. After Anko crashed through the window and displayed her banner to the students, she yelled, all right you maggots, there is no time to waste, as the sexy Mitarashi Anko is here, and so is the second part of the exams. Behind her banner, Ibiki said, Anko. You're early, making the woman who was only wearing a skirt, fishnet shirt, and trench coat look sheepish as she counted the people still present. Anko exclaimed, damn Ibiki, you must be getting old. You still have so many teams here, after being taken aback by the large number of people still present. Ibiki smirked at her. Anko followed Ibiki's gaze as he pointed at Naruto and said, not really. There was just one person here among them that reminded all of their balls. With a sadistic grin on her face, Anko ordered all of the genin in the room to follow her. "Yeah well, when I get through with them, they'll wish they left their balls here," she said. When Ibiki went to gather papers at the same time, he paused when he saw that Naruto had his own. The only writing on it was at the bottom. "Ibiki, despite what I said, I have to admit that your methods are admirable, especially coming from a being of your planet. But don't think for a second that I'm going to forget what the leaf has done to me and my family, or forgive this shithole you call a home for what it's done. It's time for the old bastard and the other old bastards who plotted against me to face justice. Inform them that the demon hand will take 10 pounds of flesh from each of them whether they like it or not. The demon hand, Namikaze Naruto, the Great. This is going to be a long Chunin exam, and the Hokage is going to lose it when he sees this," Ibiki thought as he tucked the test away. Secondary Training Area 44, the Forest of Doom. When Anko showed them the gated forest with signs warning passers-by to stay the hell away and enter at their own risk, she exclaimed, "Welcome to the Leaf's pride and joy in tearing wet behind the ears genin team's new orifices. Behind the Forest of Death." Naruto remarked, "I've seen worse, and it's true that he had, since other planets he had visited had vast vegetation that made this forest look like a bush, and a scrawny one at that." To silence Naruto's arrogance, Anko threw a kunai in his direction and then sneaked up behind him to scare him until the blonde peed her pants. The kunai she threw, which stunned Anko and everyone else who witnessed it, never made it to its intended target. She was so startled that she didn't see Naruto approaching from behind, his katana dripping with blue chakra poised above her throat, or the two of his teammates standing on either side of the special Junin, their kunai pointed at her in an attack stance. "You will lose your mind if you do that again," Haku warned. After noticing that Haku's body had stiffened, Anko said, "Then tell your boyfriend not to be so boastful," and would have said more to provoke a response from the masked girl if it weren't for Naruto's growling in her ear. "You should listen to your own advice, Anko-san. After all, anyone who dresses and acts like you is just painting a target on their backs. So do try to keep your wild side in check or you'll find it difficult to crash through windows in a dramatic fashion without a head attached to your body," said Naruto, before nodding to his team, and all three of them released Anko from their formation. Anko, holding a stack of forms in her hands, said to the Mist team, "All right, that's enough screwing around. All of you need to sign these forms so in the event you die, which some of you will I might add, the Leaf is not held responsible, and have no guilt no matter how brutal your death," before sending the forms back to the shocked Special Junin. Sasuke asked, "And what do we exactly do while in the Forest of Death?" As each group was given a scroll and Anko was given a flare gun. Most of the genin were terrified by Anko's words. "The objective is to get the opposite scroll that your team has and make it to the central tower in the Forest of Death before the time limit of 5 days expires. You want a word of advice? Don't die." But the Mist team was not among them. Kimimaro proclaimed, "Let the bloodbath begin," as he pulled out a sword with an ivory hilt and a blade that looked like it was made of bone. Naruto whispered, "Well-spoken Starkiller. Soon you will have your wish, and soon we will have our much-desired revenge," because he had detected the presence of someone on the grass genin team who was trying to keep their signature hidden from everyone. Naruto used the force to see through the disguise and was shocked to recognize Orochimaru hiding among the grass, narrowing his yellowed eyes for an instant as a result. Naruto refocused his attention on the gate in front of him and signaled his teammates to follow him into the Forest of Death at breakneck speed. It was time to implement a portion of their strategy. Under his hooded robes, Naruto smiled as he felt the force flow through this Forest of Death in a fascinating mix of light side and dark side alignment. During the Chunin exams, many shinobi had to go through this place, but not everyone made it through and became one with the force. The strange mix was because not everyone who competed in this part of the exam was a good shinobi with a pure heart. Naruto thought to himself as he bathed in the force mixture, "I could walk through this area for the rest of my life." He loved how it felt on his body. Naruto-sama seems to have changed. Kimimaro didn't understand what Naruto meant by the force, but he could see that something was making his master act this way. Haku was thinking the same thing. She saw that Naruto's posture had changed while they were in the Forest of Death, and she thought it had something to do with the Force. The blonde's description of this mysterious power made it sound like the Senju clan's affinity for nature, but on a much larger and possibly more advanced scale than what the nearly extinct clan had. She had seen Naruto use his power to lift things off the ground like they were feathers, even though Senju Tsunade was the only one with the physical strength to do so. She had also seen his anger when a mist shinobi who didn't like bloodlines was bothering the ice user. After Naruto used a Sith technique to turn him into ashes, the man who was bothering Haku because he had a bloodline would never do anything again. Naruto-kun, I feel like the team from Iwa is close by, but they don't want to get close to us, Haku said. She could feel the team from Iwa, and their chakra flux told her they were scared. Of course they are. They know who I am, who my father is, and that I helped Zabuza kill the Mizukage. The fact that I helped Zabuza kill the Mizukage is also making them nervous. However, we cannot let them pass this exam, and I have other things to do without having to keep an eye on them. I leave them to you, Haku. Kill them if you want, but I want their scroll, and I want. Kimimaro asked Naruto, what about me, Naruto-sama? Should I not help? Naruto turned his head and shook his head no to the question. Haku is more than capable of handling such weak shinobi, my Starkiller. If I sent you to take the scroll, they would be a bloody mess in your wake, and I have no desire to kill the weaklings of Iwa to advance my own gains. My old master would do that, but I am not him, and I will not have you waste your energy on Iwa when your skills are needed in a far more different direction, said Naruto, as he saw Kimimaro nod, and knew just what that direction was. Kabuto was the enemy that Kimimaro had to look for and kill. Kimimaro asked Naruto, what about Orochimaru? He had just told Naruto what the Sannin wanted here in Konoha and how the snake wanted Uchiha Sasuke as a new body. Naruto said, leave him to me, Starkiller. I want you to meet up with the Kumo team here and work with them to kill Kabuto and his teammates. He had already told Starkiller that Ni Yugito's team could be trusted and that they should be treated with respect. Kimimaro asked, should I do that now? Because now would be the best time to kill the Sannin spy. Yes, kill Kabuto and his team, all three of them, with my Starkiller, Naruto said coldly before turning to look at Kimimaro with his cold blue eyes, which made the Kagaya secretly shiver. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro. Before going into the Forest of Death, he had been told where to meet the Kumo shinobi, so he was already on his way there. Now to take away one of Orochimaru's reasons for being in the leaf, Naruto said. He knew that when a snake is too sneaky to catch on your own, you have to go after its prey and kill it. Hokage Tower, right now. The Sandame sighed when he saw his two students frowning at him. He wished things had turned out differently. Both of his students were very angry that Danzo had killed Kushina and that he had done nothing to punish the old warhawk. The Sandame tried to explain, but Tsunade slammed her fist on his desk, making it look as red as the blood she never wanted to see again, and almost dared him to make up some lame reason. They left Naruto alone for the first 6 years of his life because they thought the boy's red-haired mother would raise him. When Yondaimi's son was taken, the old monkey decided to get in touch with them. So Naruto is here, like I thought. I guess he doesn't want to be here unless he has a reason, Jiraiya said as his spies were having trouble getting into Mist and an even harder time getting to him. Naruto seemed to be able to tell who was loyal to the leaf and who was spying on it. Yes. I tried to send a message to his hotel room so he could see me, but the messenger came back with glassy eyes and said, "Go fuck yourself," right before he passed out. I need you to talk to him and convince him that his home is here in the leaf, said the Sandame, as Jiraiya laughed and Tsunade scowled while looking out the window. And what do we hope to give him? We may have been his godparents, but we weren't there for him when we should have been, and that's mostly your fault, you old jerk. You should have sent for us as soon as Kushina's death was announced, said Tsunade, as she saw the old man turn away and look out the same window she was looking out. I know, but the councils wouldn't let us do it because they said it would only bring attention to us. They thought Jiraiya was better off out in the field gathering information and Tsunade wasn't fit to raise Naruto because they were afraid she would take him away from the leaf, the Sandame said simply, but it didn't calm them down much. Of course I would have. Those bakas treated the boy like crap, I may not be perfect in many ways, Sarutobi, but I would never have left my godson to knowingly suffer, and leave him alone like you did after Kushina died. You betrayed our trust along with Naruto's. Jiraiya told the old cage, don't be surprised if Naruto comes here to cut your head off, and don't be surprised if neither Tsunade nor I decide to help you. He then left the room so the old cage could fully understand the consequences of what he had done to Naruto. With Team 7 in the Forest of Death. It happened so quickly that the Genin team led by Hitaki Kakashi didn't see it coming. Instead, they were blown away by a powerful wind-based blast. When they all woke up, Sai was nowhere to be found, Sakura was on the ground about 15 feet away from Sasuke, and the Uchiha was slowly getting to his feet while shaking his head to get the cobwebs out. What the hell was that? Sasuke asked as he looked around and saw that Sai wasn't there and that Sakura was slowly waking up. Oh no, Sasuke-kun, you're still awake. I wanted to attack you when you were at your weakest, a smooth voice in the shadows said, making the Uchiha shiver. Sasuke said, show yourself. When he heard the smooth voice laugh, which made the Uchiha even more scared. Remember the old saying, Uchiha Sasuke, be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. Said the figure, who seemed to be one of the grass nin who had entered the Chunin exams and had a wicked smile on her face. Sasuke thought, no big deal, as he got ready to fight. He started fighting the blonde before anyone could help him. And neither Sai nor Sakura did it. Forest of Death, just before. Sai got up and looked around. He couldn't find his teammates, which made him worry about the Uchiha since Danzo had told him to protect the boy no matter what. So, when the wind hit him, Sai realized that Sasuke might be in trouble, and that he might be up against someone with a lot of power if the jutsu used was any indication. Even though Sasuke thought otherwise, he wasn't better than anyone else in the Leaf like he said he was. Danzo also knew this, which is why the secret root leader had paid off the teachers at the academy to give Sasuke private lessons, help him get stronger, and do everything they could to spoil the boy in a way that the Sandaime couldn't stop. Even back then, the Uchiha showed the pride of his clan and only a small amount of Itachi's prodigy like promise. Sai thought, I have to get back to Sasuke before I fail Danzo. As he jumped through the tree, he heard a strange buzzing sound. He stopped mid-jump and turned to see a red spinning blade coming at him. It cut off his left arm at the elbow. I'm impressed by how well you can find things. If you were weaker, my lightsaber would have cut you in half, Naruto said as he appeared and called his weapon back with the force. Sai, on the other hand, was holding on to the stump of his left arm and looked at the blonde boy with the glowing red blade with something close to fear in his eyes. After the mission in Wave Country, Danzo told him not to face Naruto unless they had a good chance of beating him. Given Sai's current condition, this was not possible, so the pale boy had to run away before it was too late. Sai didn't know it yet, but it was already too late. Sai, you know a lot about your master and why he killed my mother soon after I was born. I want to know more about your master and why he did it, Naruto said as he watched Sai take a few steps back and then try to run. Naruto used the force to stop Sai while he was in the air. He slammed the root subordinate into a tree and then sent him into another tree. Naruto did this until he thought Sai's body was too broken for him to run away. Then, he brought Danzo's servant in front of him and looked at the bloody face of his prey. You won't win. Danzo-sama will. Ah. Sai cried out in pain as Naruto used the force to tear through his mind and learn everything about Root that this one knew. Thanks for your help, Sai-san. I'll give you a quick death as a reward for this important information, Naruto said as he quickly cut the boy's head off with his lightsaber and put the head in a sealing scroll. Only 3 more to go. Orochimaru and Sasuke are back. Your taijutsu is impressive. You are a Uchiha and Itachi's little brother, said Orochimaru as he showed his face to Sasuke and Sakura before Sasuke charged into battle with Sakura watching from a distance. Shut up. I'm better than my brother, and I'll show you, said Sasuke as he pushed harder and saw that the Sannin was still playing with him. Sasuke leapt into the air from his position above the Sannin and almost dive-bombed towards Orochimaru, hoping to land a few good hits. The boy was about 5 feet away from the Sannin and had his arm ready to hit Orochimaru in the face. An invisible hand sent him flying through 3 trees, leaving a deep mark on the 4th one before he fell over on the branch. What kind of jutsu was that? Who used it? As Orochimaru looked around frantically for the person who attacked his prey, he was shocked. It was only his instincts that told him to jump out of the way of the chakra-covered blade that almost cut him in half. Hello, Orochimaru of the Sannin. I don't think we've met before, so let me introduce myself before I kill you and leave your sound village without a leader. My name is Namikaze Naruto, the demon hand, Naruto said as he smiled at the Sannin from behind his hooded robes and saw Orochimaru looking at him with wary eyes. So the famous Kyuubi brat comes to see me. I'm flattered that you'd introduce yourself, but I don't have time for you. I need to get what I came here for, Orochimaru said as he looked at Sasuke, who was still unconscious but showing signs of getting better and was now with his pink-haired teammate. If you're talking about the Uchiha, don't bother, because he and his teammate won't make it out of this forest alive, Naruto told the Sannin, who looked at him with surprise and then anger at what this boy was telling him. As if I'd let you take my future body and deny me the chance to learn all the jutsus in the world. Orochimaru said as he pulled Kusanagi from his mouth to stab the blonde and possibly disable her so he could take her back to sound and study her properly. But I already have Orochimaru. In fact, I've taken more from you now than you could ever imagine until much later, and there is nothing you can do to stop me, Naruto said as he smiled slyly at Orochimaru's confused look before quickly spinning around and throwing his chakra-covered katana sword at the still groggy Uchiha. No. My new body, yelled Orochimaru as he saw Uchiha Sasuke being stabbed in the chest by Naruto's sword with such force that it pinned the boy to the tree trunk and Sakura's banshee scream filling the forest of death. Naruto used the force choke on her to silence her, and then he lifted her into the air while looking at Orochimaru with red eyes and a wild smile that scared the Sannin to death. What? Are you surprised? You thought I wouldn't kill the Uchiha because he is from the leaf like I am? If you can't see my headband, the symbol on it is for mist, and I don't like Konoha. However, unlike you, Orochi I want to hurt the leaf in a much more deep way, and that would be the death of the last Uchiha, here during the Chunin exams, Naru. Curse you, Namikaze. I've lost my future body. I'll get my revenge on you as soon as I'm done with Konoha, said Orochimaru as he started to fall into the tree, but not before Naruto used the force to stop him long enough to use it on the Sannin's right arm and crush the shoulder area so that it couldn't be fixed. Now that Kabuto can't heal him, Orochimaru would need a new body right away instead of waiting another 2 years. Take it as a gift from me to you, Orochimaru, said Naruto as he saw the man growl and leave the area to avoid being caught. As soon as Naruto realized he had won, he pulled his katana blade out of the Uchiha, who was still being held by the force against a tree, cleaned it, and put it back in its sheath. He then took out his lightsaber to deal with the extra bodies in front of him. The heads were cut off with a few quick cuts, and the rest of the bodies were kicked off the tree branch into the darkness below, where the animals who lived in the forest of death would eat them. The blonde moved to meet up with his teammates and Ni Yugito's Kumo team. He put the 2 heads in the scroll that sealed Sai's head. Central Tower, outside the front door. Where is he? I hope he's okay, said Yugito, who was getting worried as she waited for her Naruto-kun to show up, ignoring Haku's hidden glare. What's up, Yugito? All this fuss over a Gaki a few years younger than you? I never would have thought you were interested in young boys. What would the Raikage think? Asked Omoi, who had been sent with Yugito and Karui to these exams to help Naruto carry out their plans to hurt the leaf where it would hurt them the most before their invasion later on. Shut up. You don't know him like I do, and if you badmouth him once while I can hear you, I'll make you my new scratching post. Yugito told Omoi. Omoi paled at her threat, because she knew what happened to the last person who pissed off the Nibi and became her scratching post, and it wasn't pretty, to say the least. The person in question had been put to bed in the psychiatric ward for good a long time ago. He was hooked up to several IVs and was staring up at the ceiling with a faraway look on his face. I appreciate you coming to my defense, Yugito-chan, but it's not necessary, and I must ask you not to hurt your teammate, Naruto said as he came out of the shadows of the trees in the Forest of Death carrying several scrolls he didn't need to graduate, but did so in case the Kumo team had forgotten. Yugito said, Naruto-kun. As she jumped at him with the grace of a cat, hugged him while purring, and rubbed her face on his cloaked head. If Yugito had turned around, she would have seen that Haku was about to send a few Senbon needles to a place on her body that the Nibi vessel wouldn't like. Kimimaro had to hold her arm quietly to stop this from happening. It's fine, Yugito-chan. I'm here now, and I also brought a gift for your team, Naruto said as he used the force to send 2 scrolls to Omoi and 2 more to Haku. You're so thoughtful, Naruto-kun. I just have to show you how much I appreciate this gift in a more private setting, Yugito said in a way that made Omoi laugh in a strange way and caused Karui to hit him on the head. What the hell are you? Haku thought this as Kimimaro let go of her. She then pulled Yugito off of her Naruto-kun before the 2 girls gave each other a death glare to see who would explode from it first. That's enough from the 2 of you. Neither of you can fight unless it's part of the exams. Since we've cleared that part of the exams where you can for the moment, I suggest that you 2 wait for another chance to do it, and within the legal parameters the exams allow, said Naruto. He didn't want the girls to get into an alpha female piss-off over him, which could cause problems for him in the future. Haku and Yugito both said, sorry, Naruto-kun, as they looked at him with sounds of regret in their voices. They looked at each other again when they heard the other use the kun suffix. In terms of the mission, my targets have been killed, and I need an update from you too, Naruto said, pointing first at Kimimaro and then at Haku. With the help of Ni Yugito's team, my mission was a success. Kabuto and his teammates were killed, and Orochimaru won't be able to do what he wanted in the long run, said Kimimaro, seeing Naruto nod in agreement at this news. He then smiled at Yugito and her teammates for completing this task. That's great news, Starkiller, said Naruto when he saw Haku-chan shake her head no and show him the scroll she got from the Iwa team. No, Naruto-kun. All 3 of them were defeated in a matter of seconds, and I took their Earth Scroll, which was exactly what we needed. The scroll from Kabuto's team was given to Kumo's team, since they needed the Heaven Scroll, Haku said as she saw Yugito hiss at her, and the ice user behind her mask smiled. That's good news. Let's go back inside and rest, Naruto said as he watched his teammates and Yugito's teammates nod and follow him inside. Central Tower, 2 days later. My team just got here. Did yours make it, Kakashi? Kurenai asked as she saw Kakashi shake his head. He was secretly getting worried, but his mask didn't show it because he was reading porn on the small part of his face that wasn't covered. No, but knowing who the backbone of my team is, I'm sure they'll be here soon and show how strong they are, Kakashi said as he made a U-shaped motion with his eye and went back to reading his book. Then they heard a cold laugh. You have such blind arrogance, Hatake Kakashi. It's no wonder that this village is a shadow of what it used to be, Naruto said as he walked up to the 2 Junin and made them feel uncomfortable. Kakashi put his book away and became a little more cautious around Naruto. He said, you seem pretty sure of yourself, Naruto, but Mist isn't the best village to join right now because it's still weak. Of course I'm pretty sure of myself, Hatake-san. I've made it to the tower with very few of my skills. Also, I'd like to thank you for the gifts you gave me while I was in Wave and that I was able to give to everyone else, Naruto said as his smile turned almost sinister and made the hair on Kakashi's neck stand up along with the rest of the hair on his head. Kurenai looked from Naruto to Kakashi and then back to Naruto and asked, what gifts? The 1000 jutsus Kakashi knows and the training techniques he uses to get stronger are so useful to the Mist and me, you can't even imagine, Naruto said, seeing how surprised the 2 Junin were. I never gave you anything like that, Kakashi said with his fists clenched and his masked face full of denial. Not on purpose, of course, but I still think it's a gift, and I'm sure all the shinobi of the Mist thank you for your hard work in getting them all with your Sharingan. Speaking of the Sharingan, have you seen your Genin team lately? Naruto asked in a voice that made Hitaki Kakashi break out in a cold sweat. No, I haven't seen them yet. They're still out in the Forest of Death, Kakashi said, but as he said it, he felt a chill go up his spine and a pit form in his stomach. Really? Because I thought that Uchiha Sasuke, being the great prodigy, that everyone says he is, would have gotten here with his team a few days ago, just like the Suna team or my team, which came in with Kumo's shortly after the second part of this exam started, Naruto said. He saw Kakashi's eyes widen, and he could feel Kurenai silently thanking Kami that the blonde force user didn't. Kakashi asked Naruto, "What do you mean?" When he saw the smile on Naruto's face and the cruel look in his eyes that almost made him think of Orochimaru. "Oh, it's nothing, Hitaki-san. But I think you should think about the fact that Team 7 might not pass the second part of the exam, and you might have to consider that loss to be all." "Your fault," Naruto said with a laugh as the Junin looked at him with a very angry face. "You have a lot of nerve to say that to me, Naruto, when you're talking to a higher-ranking shinobi," Kakashi said. He was tempted to take the kid behind the central tower and beat him to within an inch of his life. "Higher in rank, yes, but smarter? I don't think so, and here's my proof for you to show the Hokage," Naruto said as he pulled out a bloody scroll and threw it at Kakashi, who looked scared. When Naruto turned around, Kakashi asked, "What is this?" And then left the two Junin to look at the scroll by themselves. "Oh, that Hitaki, Kakashi, is my gift to you and the Hokage, though the word gift is really just a matter of opinion," Naruto said before he disappeared into the shadows. "I don't think I want to know," Kurenai said as she left to check on her team and make sure they were all safe. When Kakashi carefully opened the scroll and saw what was inside, his eyes widened in horror. He quickly sealed the contents back up and ran straight to the Hokage. Central Tower, arena floor, after a few days. Naruto smiled when he saw that the great Sandaime Hokage looked older than the last time he saw him and that Hitaki Kakashi looked like he wanted to kill him because of what happened to Team 7. It was interesting how karma, in Naruto's case, the force would balance things out in mysterious ways when rules were broken. Naruto did everything he could to make sure he didn't cross any lines, because he knew the force would punish him later, and the young Namikaze didn't want that to happen. Behind the Sandaime stood the Shinobi Council, which was made up of Koharu and Homura. Both of these old people were staring at him because he had killed the Uchiha. They wanted to punish the blonde and the rest of Team 7 for killing Sasuke, but they couldn't because they signed a waiver that said what happened in the Forest of Death stays in the Forest of Death, even if it was death. "You will pay for this, child of the devil." One way or another, the two Shinobi Council members thought as they set up Naruto to do most of the fighting and wear himself out. Then Danzo's root Ambu would move in, take the boy, and start to learn all the blonde's secrets before turning him into their weapon. Naruto knew what they were trying to do, so he just smiled more at their plan, which they thought was foolproof, but it was made by fools, and other fools followed them. Naruto knew that Haku, Kimimaro, and Yugito's team could stop any attack on him, even if he was weaker from fighting so many people. Not only that, but the event would bring Kumo, Mist, and Iwa into the fight. After what happened in the last Shinobi War, Iwa's eager to destroy Konoha. After the Hokage gave his little speech about the purpose of the Chunin exam prelims and the Chunin exams as a whole, followed by the appearance of the coughing leaf Junin Gecko Hayate, the names on the big screen that appeared behind one special Junin Mitarashi Anko were now being, randomly, chosen. Shino vs. Naruto. Aburame vs. Namikaze. As Naruto looked at Shino, he thought, a worthy opponent. He gave the slightly taller boy a respectful nod, and Shino did the same. Everyone got off the floor to give Shino and Naruto the space they needed to fight with Gecko Hayate, the Junin proctor, who was getting ready to start this match while everyone watched with excitement. Many people had only heard rumors about Naruto's mysterious powers and had never seen him use them. They only knew what he could do because of the rumors. "Ready? Fight," said Hayate when he saw Shino send a swarm of bugs at the blonde right away while the boy just stood there and smiled. Is he nuts? People who were watching thought, those bugs will eat him up if he doesn't fight back. Naruto said with a small hand motion, "You will stop coming at me and go back to your colony." Some people laughed at the simple order and wondered if this kid was for real. Imagine how surprised they were, along with Shino, when the bugs stopped moving toward Naruto when there was only a foot between them, turned around, and went back into Shino's body. Shino, for his part, was silently terrified because he could tell that his allies were being led by a power other than his own and that they were obeying this foreign power as if they belonged to his enemy. Shino's queen, who was in charge of the colony in his body, was also scared. She told Shino's host body not to put any more of her children in danger until Naruto's power wore off. Shino said, "I surrender," because he wanted to save his colony and it didn't make sense to risk everything against the blonde. Hayate said, "W winner by forfeit, N Namikaze Naruto." He was shocked that this had happened and knew that the Hokage would want to ask Shino what the hell had just happened. They would not be the only ones. He just used a simple command to stop Shino's bugs. So, who is he? Kurenai thought this because she knew that Shino's bugs followed the queen in the hive inside the boy. The queen was a loyal friend of the Aburame and let him do whatever he wanted with her bugs as long as the bugs weren't hurt. If Shino gave up, it was because the queen inside him told him to do so for her children in the hive as a whole. This means that Naruto had a power that no one else could see. "Neji, what do you see with your eyes?" Lee asked as he saw his Hyuga teammates' Byakugan eyes scanning Naruto while the branch member frowned. "It's strange. I see his chakra flow, but then I see another kind of crimson chakra that is stronger than his own, and at the same time I see something that isn't chakra. A wavy, invisible energy that twists and turns and doesn't have a center like the wind," said Neji. He saw his teammates' eyes widen and wondered if that was the power Naruto used to stop Shino's bugs. When Naruto looked at the board and saw that it was again going through names at random, he thought, "This is too easy." Isis Tenten vs. Namikaze Naruto. He's supposed to fight again? You jerks. Haku thought, "This must have something to do with demons, because I can tell it has to do with the Leaf Shinobi Council." "Alright. It's time to show everyone what I can do," said Tenten as she gracefully jumped to the floor and pulled out her sword before getting into a sword fight. "Interesting. Let's see how good you are with a sword," Naruto said as he pulled out his own katana sword and held it in the form 2 of the lightsaber stance called Makashi before giving her a swordsman salute. "Ready? Fight," said Hayate. He thought Naruto's sword stance was pretty interesting, so he decided to pay a little more attention to this fight than usual. Both opponents stood still for a moment, but Naruto's mocking smile showed that Tenten was the more eager of the two. The silence was finally broken when the blonde made a "come and get me" sign with her hand. Tenten moved quickly enough for her sensei's springtime of youth, because she wanted to show that she was better with a sword than anyone else her age and beat this scary opponent. Tenten found it harder than she could have ever imagined. He's great. Tenten thought, he's using a style I've never seen before. She was trying to break through Naruto's defenses, but it didn't seem possible, and she was getting more and more upset. Isis Tenten, you disappoint me. Your Junin sensei thinks so highly of you that he wants you to take the Chunin exams and move on to the next level of your shinobi career. Surely you can do better? Naruto said with a smile as he used the Dunmok technique on the bun-haired girl. This made her angry, so she attacked the blonde in a fit of rage at being seen as weaker than him. Tenten fell into Naruto's trap, which made Naruto smile. He dodged the girl's attack and hit her with a sweep kick, which put the genin on her back and knocked her sword out of her hand. The blonde then put his blade to her throat. Tenten couldn't believe that this kid, who was younger than her, had beaten her in a martial art she had been training in since she was able to hold a weapon. She looked up to see Naruto smiling softly at her from behind his dark red hood. Tenten said, "I give up. I give up to you, Namikaze-sama." She couldn't deny that he was the better swordsman, and the fact that she used his last name with the suffix showed that she was giving up. Hayate said, "Winner is Namikaze Naruto." He was impressed by Naruto's skill with a sword and how he teased Tenten in battle. He might be able to use that against Yugo when they fight. "You have a lot of pride, my dear," But remember that twice as much pride means twice as hard a fall, and you fell hard here today, Naruto said as he put his blade away and helped Tenten up by grabbing her arm firmly. Wow, he's really strong. Whoever trained him must have been a real slave driver, if not a sadist, Tenten thought as she felt Naruto's strong arms and tried not to blush. Until we meet again, my dear, get stronger, Naruto said, taking her hand in his and kissing the back of it in a gentlemanly way. He then walked up the stairs, while Tenten just blushed a lot and walked like a zombie back to her teammates. The next couple of matches went off without a hitch. Tsuchi-kin fought Nara Shikamaru, who was always lazy, and the young Leaf Genin won, though just barely. He did this by using his shadow possession jutsu. When Yamanaka Ino saw that her opponent was Ni Yugido, she gave up right away. The Nibi vessel gave everyone a look that said she was almost ready to claw the Platinum Girl to pieces. Inuzuka Kiba fought Tamari. It was a one-sided fight and the second fastest one so far. Tamari hit Kiba with her fan once, sending him flying into a wall after Kiba insulted the blonde with the pigtails and said she would lose because she was a girl and he was an alpha male. It might have been one of the few times Naruto saw the Force show him a fight where the outcome didn't change at all, and Tamari came out on top. Omio killed Dosu with his sword by cutting off his head, and Karui quickly killed Zaku by cutting off his arms and head. But the next match was what made the young Namikaze frown and the other members of the Shinobi Council smile. Starkiller vs. Hyuga Neji. Kimimaro asked Naruto-sama, "How do you want me to move forward?" When he saw the Hyuga come down the stairs and then go back to his albino friend. Fight him with only your taijutsu and your sword Starkiller. Don't use your bloodline yet, Naruto whispered so only Kimimaro could hear him. He saw the older boy nod his head. Kimimaro said, "Yes, Naruto-sama," before going down, but Naruto stopped him again, and what he said next was loud enough for everyone to hear. Naruto told Starkiller, "Don't kill or hurt him. I order you," because he could feel a link between the Hyuga boy and Hyuga Hinata that couldn't be broken. Kimimaro said, "Yes, Naruto-sama," as he saw Hyuga Hinata now looking at Naruto with respect and Neji already in his gentle fist stance. Neji said as he turned on his Byakugan, "You should just give up," but Kimimaro shook his head. "I can't. I owe Naruto-sama too much to just go against him now. If Naruto-sama asks me to, I will give my life to ensure victory in his and the Mizukage-sama's honor," said Kimimaro as he got into his taijutsu stance and got ready to fight Neji. Kimimaro, cover your skin with bone plating under your clothes to protect yourself from your opponent's blows. If you're not careful, he'll use his eyes to shut down your chakra points and rip your organs apart, Naruto said to the albino through the force, and Kimimaro mentally nodded to show that he understood. It was close because Kimimaro had to hold back a lot. Neji's eyes were used with the Hyuga's gentle fist, and Naruto told the albino not to hurt Neji in a way that would hurt him for good. But in the end, Kimimaro won his fight with Neji by using his sword to cut Neji from the shoulder to the bottom of his back. After that, Kimimaro quickly had the boy pinned down and told Neji to give up or he might die from all the wounds he got in this fight. Neji didn't get to choose because the Junin proctor told him that Kimimaro was the winner. The albino then slowly moved his blade and himself away from the Hyuga branch member. "Fate decided our match," Neji said as he got up from the ground and saw Kimimaro shake his head no again. "No, Neji Hyuga. The winner of this fight wasn't decided by fate, but by the spirit of each of the two fighters. The one with the stronger spirit won." "Think about it," Kimimaro said as he returned to Naruto's side and bowed to the blonde, who nodded to show that he agreed with what the albino had done. Hyuga Hinata vs Subaku no Kankuro. Hinata thought, "It's time to show everyone what I can do," as she walked down the steps, and Kankuro did the same, though with a smile on his face and a bit of a cocky attitude. "Hyuga, I'll tell you a little secret. I'm not like the rest of my family, and I'll give you this one chance to give up," Kankuro said as he smirked at the Hyuga girl, who activated her bloodline and went into a gentle fist stance that was the exact opposite of Neji's. Naruto thought to the girl his age, "It's time to show me how much you've grown, Hinata-chan." He smirked and wondered if she was as strong as he hoped she was. "All set?" Hayate said, "Fight," and put his hand down to start the match. In an instant, Hinata was on Kankuro, who was surprised because he thought she was a gentle girl who wouldn't want to hurt anyone. He was so wrong. Hinata saw through the Suna shinobi's plan and fought back by going straight for the bundle in Kankuro's arms. This showed that the puppet everyone thought was Kankuro was really just Kankuro himself, controlled by chakra strings. Hinata saw it right away because she went after them first, and then Kankuro wrapped things up for her to deal with. All he needed was a red bow on his head, and this victory would be wrapped up like a present. Hayate said, "Winner is Hyuga Hinata," as he called Hinata the winner and watched her bow to the dead enemy before going up the stairs. And met Naruto face to face. "Hyuga Hinata, both your skills and your family tree are very impressive. If anyone else had fought Kankuro, it would have been a long time before they found out the truth, and by the time they did, Kankuro would have won," Naruto said as he saw the others nod. Even Haku would agree that this strategy could have worked, since the puppet would have been more resistant to her Senbon needle attacks. Hinata said, Thank you, Naruto-kun." She knew that praise from the blonde was an honor in and of itself, and she could see the cautious, tense look in her sensei's eyes out of the corner of her eye. When Naruto turned around to face the board, he saw the next list of names and frowned. Namikaze Naruto vs Subaku no Gaara. Yugito thought, oh no. When she saw the bloodthirsty look in Gaara's eyes and then the calm look in Naruto's eyes. That's cool. The future is always changing, Naruto told himself as he jumped down and slowed down dramatically in midair. Mother wants blood from you. She first wanted the Uchihas, but Gaara said, I smell some of his on you already, and that can only mean you killed him in the Forest of Death. This made the Leaf Shinobi who hadn't heard this news look shocked and horrified. Maybe, but now is not the time to talk about Subaku no Gaara, Naruto said when he saw the Shinobi Council and Kakashi glare at him for what he had done. All set? Fight, said Hayate as he saw Gaara throw his sand at the blonde as soon as the last word was said. Naruto moved so quickly that Gaara had a hard time catching him. It was clear that the red-haired boy's power wasn't meant to be this offensive in combat. Gaara was easily annoyed that he couldn't move his sand fast enough to catch Naruto, as he kept missing chance after chance and making the Suna shinobi look like a joke. I can tell you're afraid, Subaku no Gaara. Yes. You have hate and anger, but I get the feeling that you don't know how to use them right. Naruto used Dunmok on Gaara, just like he did on Tenten, and Gaara got even madder when he heard his mother call for the blonde's blood. Gaara yelled, "Oh, I'll kill you," as he shot more sand at Naruto and looked more and more crazy for everyone to see. You sure? Naruto asked Gaara, do you really want to kill your own mother? As he used the Force's alter image skill to make himself look like Gaara's real mother. This made the red-haired boy stop in shock, and Gaara's other two siblings were also surprised. He looks exactly like Kurora, the Cage's late wife. But how? Thought Baki in shock as he wondered if his mind was playing tricks on him and saw that this wasn't a henge. At least, he hadn't seen one like it before. Gaara, he said. Gaara, you are a brave boy. You've grown, said Kurora as Gaara's real mother, in the form of a woman, walked toward the boy and the Shukaku vessel lost control of its sand. Gaara said, mother? As he thought about the illusion and wondered what cruel trick it was. Yes, Gaara. I'm sorry I couldn't be there when you were born. I wanted to so much, but your father used my life force to seal you, which hurt us both a lot, said Kurora, as she walked up to Gaara and saw that the Suna-born boy looked like he was about to go crazy. He was trying to use me as a weapon. Gaara almost cried as he said, he never saw me as his son. The woman in front of him smiled kindly down at him. Gaara-kun, I know you. He did it to fight against the other shinobi villages, which were making weapons out of the demon vessels they had, and to put Suna back in the spotlight as a great hero. I have to say, though, that the way he did it was a bit rough and hurtful to both of us, Kurora said as she moved closer to Gaara and saw the youngest of the Cage's children nod his head in agreement. Gaara said, I hate him. He had wanted to kill his father for a long time, but he was too busy going on missions that the man wanted. Gaara-kun, I know you. For now, let's not worry about him. Instead, let's talk about your fight with little old me and how you were going to use the sand that is part of me, Karora said as she watched the sand go back into his gourd and him shake his head no to the idea. No way. Gaara said, I won't fight you. He couldn't fight his mother, so he wouldn't fight Shukaku either, no matter what he said. Hayate said, winner of my bet, Namikaze Naruto. When he saw Karora's form change back into Naruto and the redhead look at him in shock. You pretended to be my mother to get me to give up? Gaara was shocked because he thought this kid was the same age as him and he had never seen the woman before. Would you have liked it if I had killed you with that power? Gaara got up and glared angrily at Naruto. At least this way, you'll live to see another day and can go kill your father in Suna, said Naruto. Kankuro said, that's low. He knew that talking about their mother was a sensitive subject, especially for Gaara. Naruto said, this is coming from a guy who has dolls fight for him and wears his sister's makeup and calls it war paint, while Kankuro was getting angry. Kankuro yelled, it's war paint. He was going to go teach Naruto a lesson, but Temari hit him in the back of the head and made fun of him for being a baka, so he didn't go. Yeah. You keep telling yourself that. Naruto thought as he started to leave, but he couldn't get far because sand was wrapped around his body and Gaara was ready to kill him. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Gaara, whose sand was now alive and blocking the senbon needles that Haku was throwing at him, didn't listen when Hayate told the redhead that the match was over. No. You are not, Naruto said in a deadly whisper as he used a lot of the force to use force repel to get out of the sand that was squeezing him. Gaara was shocked. The next thing that happened would make everyone around Naruto scared to no end. The blonde turned around to face Gaara and moved even faster than when he dodged the sand from their fight. He slammed his fist into Gaara's stomach right before Naruto started hitting the Suna boy with blow after blow. The Suna siblings, their sensei Baki, all of the Leaf Shinobi from Genin to Junin, and even the Hokage were shocked to see Naruto treat Gaara like a child. Gaara was knocked back into the wall by a solid uppercut and fell to the ground. He tried to get up, but the pain was too much, even though he was wearing sand armor. It felt like Naruto had hit him as if he wasn't wearing it. Gaara didn't understand it because no one had ever hit him before, but this person was hitting him like it was as easy as breathing. Talking about things that come naturally, like breathing, Gaara was surprised to find himself floating in the air and slowly choking on an invisible hand that was wrapped around his throat. Gaara thought, is this how it feels when I kill people with my sand? As he was soon thrown from one side of the room to the other, hit the big hand sign statue, and was then thrown away from it and landed a few feet from Naruto. Now you will die because you don't have any respect. Naruto said as he reached out with his hand to the force. The statue where he had just thrown Gaara started to rumble and slowly rise off the ground. To everyone's horror, the statue moved closer to the two, and Gaara saw Naruto's eyes change from blue to crimson with a hint of yellow and slits that showed anger like the Shukaku vessel had never seen. It didn't seem real that a boy his age could control such a big thing like it was nothing, so I wondered if the Kyuubi had given its vessel this power. Don't do it. No. Gaara yelled as he desperately tried to get away from the boy, but his wounds made it impossible for him to move. He could see the thing that would kill him slowly moving toward him. Stupid kid. Only now. At your end. Do you finally get it? Naruto said as he was about to turn Gaara into a smear on the floor. He would have done so if his teammates hadn't stepped in to help the red-haired boy. Please stop Naruto-sama, Kimimaro said as he stood in front of Gaara, ready to pick up the boy and get him to safety while Haku was with Naruto. Yes, Naruto-kun, he is right. Look at how Gaara's eyes are filled with fear. Be kind to him because he is your relative and needs to know he is not alone, Haku said in a whisper as he saw Naruto struggle to hit Gaara. With his eyes closed, Naruto pushed the big thing back and let it crash into the wall where it had been sitting. He then let out a tired sigh of relief that he hadn't killed Gaara by being so careful. When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw that they were once again blue, but they were still cold and looked like steel to everyone who saw them. Thank your lucky stars, Suibku no Gaara. They asked me to be kind to you. I don't do things like this very often, and I don't forgive people who betray the mercy I show them, Naruto said as he walked back up the stairs with Haku and sat down in a meditative pose with the girl next to him. Kimimaro did the same thing on the other side. Everyone thought that was crazy, as Gaara slowly got up from the ground after Temari, Baki, and Kankuro helped him. Gaara's face showed that he understood what was going on. It's Temari. The name Kankuro. Sensei Baki. We need to talk. In private, Gaara said in a whisper. His voice didn't sound as bloodthirsty as it usually did, but more like a boy his age. Temari said, of course, lil brother, as she realized that Naruto's action may have helped Gaara change for the better. She thanked the blonde in her mind for what he did. Haku then fought Choji, who had become a human pincushion and couldn't move. Lee was the only one left who didn't fight. He had been crying and wailing for 5 minutes with his teacher in a genjutsu over not getting the chance to show the springtime of youth. They would have done more if Kimimaro hadn't pulled out his sword, tried to cut them in half, and then told them not to do that again. Each of you who passed will now pick a slip of paper out of this box and get a number. This number, along with the others, will be used to figure out who you'll fight in a month and to teach the people who will watch you compete in the Chunin exam stadium something new, said the Hokage as he looked at Naruto, who was grinning at him in a way that made the old man feel cold all over. Each person picked a slip of paper, which Ibiki wrote down on his clipboard. Then he showed them who they would all fight. Namikaze Naruto vs. Osmosis Omoi in the first match. Ni Yugito vs. Subaku no Temari in the second match. Starkiller vs. Kashu Karui in the third match. Nara Shikamaru vs. Momochi Haku in the fourth match. Rock Lee vs. Hyuga Hinata in the fifth match. That's great. I face a girl, then another girl if Hinata wins, and if she doesn't, I face a weirdo in green spandex who hugs an adult version of himself to make a genjutsu that is very strange. Shikamaru thought, this is going to happen to me no matter what, as he looked at the girl in a mask who took Choji down in an instant. Y'all know who you're up against. As the Mist team left, the Hokage said, dismissed. He knew he had 1 month to find out what happened to Naruto before the Chunin exam finals.
Also, he didn't know how the public would react to the Uchiha's death or who had killed him.
When the old Kage saw Naruto holding the statue, he wondered if this was a sign of a self-fulfilling prophecy that the village would be destroyed.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.